Maitre Tardio's house was near the Sorbonne, down a dingy covered passage off the Rue Saint-Jacques. It was so dark that the lanterns hanging in the niches were all lit. Jan and Tatu stood there waiting in the gloom for the door to open, sensing eyes peeping out of all the buildings, spying on them. In the window of the shop opposite, a solitary candle dimly illuminated its macabre contents. Waxwork heads stuck on pikes. One was of Louis XVI, another of Marie Antoinette. Jan felt a shiver go down his spine.
"My word,"
said Tatu.
"A glimpse of what is to come."
"Yes," said the maid, opening the door.
"We have an appointment to see Maître Tardieu."
The girl took them up a narrow, dark staircase that led to a room of miserable proportions, lit only with a few candles. So used was this room to the perpetual gloom of twilight that the outside world seemed almost divorced from it. The lawyer seemed lost for words as they entered. Never for a moment had he imagined Cordell sending him a mere youth and a dwarf, apparently from the circus. He had been expecting two serious and well-connected gentlemen to help him. Had Cordell no idea of the urgency of the situation?
"We live in strange times indeed, sir,"
said Tatu, reading the lawyer's thoughts. "No, we live in terrible times," said Maître Tardieu. "Who would think that I would live so long as to be rewarded in my old age with such times as these?" He took off his glasses and nervously wiped them on his sleeve, with the effect of evenly coating the already smeared lenses with more grime.
"I am aware, sir,"
said Tatu kindly,
"that we are not what you had in mind when you asked Monsieur Cordell for help."
"Quite," said Maître Tardieu. "Quite."
"But whatever else you may think of us, we are to be trusted. Of that I can give you my word."
For a while the silence in the room felt almost tangible. Then Maître Tardieu said, "This goes against my better judgment, but I see there is nothing else to be done." He lowered his voice. "Something very distressing has come to light. I have received a packet from a Monsieur Giraud, a lawyer of my acquaintance who lives in Normandy. He was called in to help identify the remains of a body found on the Marquis's estate. This ring, found amongst the bones, was the property of the Marquis's half-brother, Armand de Villeduval, who disappeared when Mademoiselle Sido's mother was killed. Monsieur Giraud concludes that the remains were his." He tipped the contents of the packet onto the table. Out fell a ring and 7 blood-red garnets. "The ring bears the coat of arms of the Villeduval family. I remember that Armand de Villeduval used to wear it on his left hand. The garnets—" He paused. "Will you wait here? There is something else I must show you." When he left the room, Tatu picked up one of the garnets and studied it.
"Does it remind you of anything?"
"Yes. The red necklace I found in Kaliowski's room." The lawyer came back carrying a velvet drawstring bag. "This belonged to Mademoiselle Sido's mother. She instructed her maid that if anything happened to her, she was to give it to me." He emptied the bag onto the table. The brightness of the jewels that fell out shone even in the darkness of the gloomy room. In amongst them lay a red ribbon studded with 7 garnets. Tatu picked up the red necklace.
"How did this get in amongst such valuable jewels?"
he asked. "The maid told me that she had taken the necklace off her dead mistress along with her rings. Does it signify anything?
The 7 garnets found with Armand de Ville-Duval's ring were once attached to a red ribbon identical to this,
said Tattoo.
It is the signature that is left on every one of his victims.
Sir, said Maitre Tardieu, you are alarming me greatly. Please, in heaven's name, explain yourself. Whose victims?
Kaliowski's. I think it proves that Armand de Ville-Duval and Madame Isabelle de Ville-Duval were murdered. But the question is, why?
We must call for the police, said the lawyer. That would be unwise, said Jan. It would be as good as signing your own death warrant. Oh dear, what is to be done? What we want is to get Mamselle Sido to London, where she has family and will be out of Kaliowski's reach. I agree, that would be best. If Kaliowski were to marry Mamselle Sido, he would be in control of her inheritance. How do you plan to get her out?
We have been told that Mr. Tull is to take her and the Marquis to England,
said Tattoo. Not the Marquis. The man, you know, is quite mad. If anything will scupper the plan, he will. Do you really believe this Mr. Tull is up to the job? Well, that's what we're going to find out, said Jan. But, young man, I don't want anyone but yourself taking these jewels back to London. Is that understood? Yes, said Jan. I will make sure that Mamselle Sido receives them safely. I can't tell you how delighted I shall be to see them with their rightful owner at last. I don't like keeping such valuables in my house. Not in times like these.
Then, sir,
said Tattoo,
we will make the necessary arrangements to relieve you of the jewels.
They left the lawyer's house with 2 vital questions still unanswered. If Kaliowski had murdered both Sido's mother and Armand de Ville-Duval, what was his motive? And what part had the Marquis played? The questions hovered there angrily, like storm clouds in search of thunder.